we've reached the point where it's, oh, does the Denver Nuggets title deserve an asterisk because they're going to beat all these play-in teams? So when you look at beating um, beating the Lakers in the last round, you beat an injured version of the Suns, then you're going to beat the Miami Heat, and you beat the Timberwolves in the first round. I want to make it clear. I don't think people who are trying to be genuine in their coverage are actually talking about that. Damon, I can't remember his last name on Twitter, had posted something like the NBA is sort of the only league where it turns to like measuring the validity of titles when you go back to the bubble title. And I'm just not deep enough into other sports discourse to understand whether that's true. And I want to make it clear that I don't think that for the most part, that the reputable people, the people who want to have authentic discussions about the game, give authentic coverage about the game. This podcast, we're not going to get into the habit of measuring titles unless I feel the need to defend it. And to some extent, I'm taking the rage bait here. And I did it on Twitter. Let me see if I can actually bring it up. So from Chris Palmer, if anyone just sort of remembers him, he used to kind of write. I don't even know what the fuck he does now, to be honest with you. But he was the one that kind of spurred the discussion about it. And yeah, I'm going to throw it up on the screen for anyone who's watching on YouTube. Tweets: if the Nuggets win the 2023 NBA championship, they will have beaten 3 play-in teams: the Lakers, the Timberwolves, the Heat, and a loss cost of the number 4 Suns, the weakest ring in professional sports history. That is clearly just, like I said, rage bait. I took it. I posted a mini thread on Twitter about it. But I will say, and I'm going to throw this other one up on the screen for people who might be watching along. There was also a tweet from ESPN Stats and Information that kind of, that's not what it was saying. I want to make that clear, but I threw it up on the screen. The Nuggets are the 4th team to reach the finals and never face a team with a win percentage of 55 or above in that postseason, joining the 56 Warriors, the 57 Celtics, and the 59 Celtics. And so you're looking at it and you're like, oh, okay, like this is, what are we trying to, why else post that other than to kind of incite this discussion? It would be my thought there. And again, I went on a whole rant. I know how the sausage is made. Like I said, I do think there's such things as disingenuous and toxic coverage. I don't know what bucket I'd throw this under, whatever the hell Chris Palmer's trying to do. Yeah, like that is certainly there 100%. But the Nuggets are not going to get an asterisk for this title. The audacity of them to get the 1 seed, win enough in the regular season to get the 1 seed and play who's in front of them during the playoffs is on like the audacity of them. That's cowardice. Are you kidding? And let's also like step back for a minute. The Timberwolves were injured beyond reason all season. I still don't know if they would have coalesced into something truly dangerous. Let's just throw them out. Okay. You earned the right to beat that team by being the 1 seed in the Western Conference. Now, if you have a problem in the later rounds, let's remember a few things here. So you get to Phoenix, who was not only favored in that series, but they were 12-1 through their first 13 games, playoffs and regular season, with Kevin fucking Durant. And then you go against the Lakers team and LeBron. Okay, yeah, they're the 7 seed and they didn't have the best season. They were 12th in the West at one point, blah, 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 blah. Look at how poorly they started. They won basically 67% of their games after the trade deadline. Did that have more to do with the actual trades or just getting rid of Russ? I don't care. They won 67% of those games. These are not stepping stones that they're facing. And okay, the Heat are a different beast altogether, but you can't fault the Nuggets have no bearing. Look at the teams that they beat to get here, though. I mean, Milwaukee, yes, okay, the Giannis injury. Then you beat a solid Knicks team, which, like, I think Zach Lowe phrases beating equals. That's a great way to say it. Then you go and you beat the Celtics, who, yeah, you got to 3-0 on them, almost blew it, but then you don't in the end. And you could say whatever you want about the Celtics. They still got to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals 1 year after getting to the NBA Finals and coming within 2 victories of an NBA championship. This Heat team, they were not good. They were like, they had a negative point differential in the regular season. And I think if you polled people in the organization, they're going to tell you that they weren't even expecting this. But the thing is that you can say that this is lucky shooting or they're on a run. This run has now lasted 12 wins, 3 rounds of playoff basketball. They are not here by accident because they don't deserve to be. And so if you want to twist yourself into a pretzel just to continue to climb into your butthole by saying that the Nuggets deserve an asterisk or that this is a weak championship field, I beg you to just reconsider. And I want to stop short of saying shut the fuck up, but that's how I feel if people are actually having this discussion. Again, I want to make it clear. I do feel like I'm yelling at the wall at this point because I don't think the sensible discourse is skewing this way. But to see that stat from ESPN Stats and Information, and then Chris Palmer going on his just dumbass rant, it was just like, what are we doing here? And it's not just, I'm not even claiming, well, look at what the media is doing to the Nuggets again. Okay, yeah, I don't think it's the media. I don't think people are actually having this discussion. Maybe First Take does it at some point, or Undisputed or whatever. But like, we did this with this, we did not do this, but this happened with the Suns, for instance, when they reached, it happened with the Lakers specifically in the bubble, their title. And then it happened with the Suns, where it was like, whoa, look at everyone who was injured. Like, yeah, we don't care that Chris Paul was banged up beyond reason, or that Devin Booker broke his fucking nose during that series, or that the relative lack of, playoff experience at that point among their, core players not named Chris Paul. Yeah, that doesn't matter at all. It was Mikal Bridges and Devin Booker's, and DeAndre Ayton's first trip to the playoffs, along the NBA Finals, Chris Paul's first trip to the NBA Finals as well. I'm not here for the Astros. Like, winning the championship is hard. You can only play who's in front of you. And certainly if you get a more favorable bracket, because the Lakers, they were swept, but we want to, there are people who want to build it as a competitive sweep, which by the point differential, it was. But like, these teams were there for a reason. They were not just these also rans. And I think everything that we've watched to this point has so much more to do with the Nuggets than it does the level of competition. And you don't get to have it both ways or all three ways, where didn't we just finish a stretch where the Nuggets were vilified and Jokic himself, his MVP credentials were impugned because he couldn't win in the playoffs. He played well, but he couldn't win. And that was because they had all these bodies missing and that their team wasn't complete. We're going to sit here and say, oh, the Suns with Kevin Durant were a lost cause before the Chris Paul injury, before the DeAndre Ayton injury at the end of it. Please, come on. We're going to say that the Lakers we're going to give the Lakers a pass because they were new to each other, or we just don't think that they were a good team this year, even though they had LeBron James and Anthony Davis when it mattered most. You don't get to have it both ways. If the Nuggets deserve to be, if Jokic, if part of the problem for his MVP, two-time MVP case was that he wasn't winning despite missing all these players, you now don't get to poke holes in the championship path that they took after finishing with the Western Conference's best record for the entire fucking regular season. That stuff matters. They earned whatever path they got, and I don't think it's been super easy. That is my rant against nothing, though. And I fully recognize that I might be yelling at clouds here, but I'm either getting ahead of what disingenuous discourse there will be, or just kind of that ESPN Stats and Info tweet, even though I understand what social made, that rubbed me the wrong way. And then the Chris Palmer one was just, you talk about ill thought. I've had some pretty ill thought, incoherent arguments, maybe even the one that you just listened to.